about how Iran is sponsoring terrorism. So break that down for us.
So there's no question that Iran has engaged in actions that the United States has not liked in the Middle East, though there are some areas where Iran has actually been done things that the United States has wanted it to. In Afghanistan, Iran has been reasonably helpful and on the same page as the United States for much of the last decade. But there are areas, significant areas of disagreement. The Iran deal explicitly does not deal with foreign policy in general, regional policy in particular. The Iran deal was about one specific thing: Iran's quest for nuclear weapons, as seen by the United States and many other countries. The Iranians always claimed that they were only acquiring nuclear capacity, not nuclear weapons. The deal was meant to freeze that capacity, roll it back in certain areas, and it has been extraordinarily successful at that. 98% of Iran's enriched uranium, 10 tons, was taken out. A facility they had in Iraq was literally paved over with concrete, as it were. There was molten concrete poured into it to render it inoperable. There are inspectors in Iran on a level that no country has ever had at any point. So in many ways, it is an incredibly intrusive agreement. The Iranians have so far maintained it, and it deals with freezing and reversing Iran's nuclear program. Yeah, the Iranians are doing things in Yemen or in Lebanon that the United States doesn't like. By the way, we are doing things in the Middle East that they don't like. Maybe that is something that could be discussed separately. Maybe it couldn't. Ironically, during the initial period of the negotiations, it was Iran that tried to broaden the deal to encompass some of these other regional issues. And it was the United States and the Western powers that said, no, we want to just deal with one issue, because our fear at the time was this just creates a big, large smorgasbord of issues and will never resolve anything.
Yeah, and then one thing becomes beholden to the other issue. Deal. Yeah. So when you look at what's been happening over the last 24 hours, this is at least optically an attempt to undo what was a hard-fought, hard-negotiated agreement with Iran by the Obama administration, but then also this canceling the subsidies when it comes to Obamacare. I mean, what do you think about the president, these two things taken as a whole, this approach of really trying to just take chunks out of that legacy?
Well, I think more than anything else, what you're seeing is a president who seems more interested in disrupting than in building. Because in each of these cases, and you're right to tie them together, there is no new policy. There is no new set of programs that people can bank on, that people can understand, that the world could follow. Instead, it is simply something that has sown confusion, uncertainty, raised tensions without resolving anything. So it's very difficult to see how anyone could look at this as a productive step forward. It's almost as though it's political signaling. It achieves, it sort of feeds a certain kind of anger that people might have in the Republican base, the anti-Obama elements and things like that. But what does it do for people in the United States, people in the world, when you look at the issue of healthcare, you look at the Iran deal? It's not clear. Just confusion, uncertainty, chaos.
I want to ask you about the Green Berets killed in Niger as well, because CNN has learned some new details about this ambush. 4 killed, 2 wounded there, and now the U.S. military is investigating exactly what happened. Why do you think the president hasn't said anything about these fine service members who have been killed?
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's a rapidly unfolding situation. Perhaps he's waiting to get more information. I'm not reading anything into it at this point, and I don't think, I think people should wait until we get a little bit more information about it. It is, of course, a tragedy, and these are very fine. These are very fine soldiers. But
what is it that needs to be known, do you think, Fareed? Is it the circumstances of it? I mean, this was an ambush. This was supposed to be maybe a relatively safe operation, and then surprisingly it was not. So that's really the question that needs to be answered?
Precisely. It appears to have been something that was almost more routine. It wasn't. Was there a breakdown in intelligence? Does it suggest something new? Does it require an immediate response? Would you be telegraphing anything by responding to it publicly? As I say, I think it's worth giving the president the benefit of the doubt on this.
All right, Fareed Zakaria, thank you so much for that. I do want to tell you we're minutes away now from the House Speaker, from Paul Ryan, speaking